जो जो सब्सक्राइब किया उनको अपने आप ही आ जाएगा.
ठीक है, नहीं शेयर करूँगा. चलो, let's start.
नहीं.
Hi guys, welcome to IndieCast 14. This is the election special episode, and we're going to be discussing the results of the recently held general elections for 2024. And as you can see, the things were pretty spicy. Yeah, so spicy.
Hello.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, action.
Was I supposed to do that?
Yeah,
अच्छा
yeah.
चलो ठीक है.
So we've had a very interesting result of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Right off the bat, let's get your thoughts.
My thoughts are that somehow, somewhere, I feel we don't need to intellectualize it too much. We are a divisive society. We are pawn to the games that politicians play. We cannot remain united ever. And when I say that we are a divisive society, I'm particularly talking about, of course, the Hindu-Muslim things I'm talking about. And I'm also talking about Hindus per se. So my first observation is that it was a masterstroke by Rahul Gandhi when he said that he's going to do the caste census. And whether somebody believes it or not, I was listening to two stalwarts of UP, two journalists who were from the Hindi media of Lucknow. And they said, the only two elections that UP voted against caste consideration were the elections of 2014 and 2019. This time, caste polarization was more than apparent, and कितना भी कर लो, एंड में हम जाति जाति पे ही लड़ेंगे और जाति पे ही वोट करेंगे. और तुम कितना भी मुस्लिम्स के लिए कर लो, हिंदू के लिए कर लो, मुसलमान मुसलमान की तरह वोट देगा, यादव यादव की तरह वोट देगा, ब्राह्मण ब्राह्मण की तरह वोट देगा, राजपूत राजपूत की तरह वोट देगा. Period. This is my observation.
So you're saying that success of Indie Alliance in UP happened because of caste-related rhetoric?
Mainly yes. Mainly yes. I'm not saying that NDA is above board. I'm not giving them clean chit. They have done few things which needs course correction. They need certain introspection. But this is what I feel is mainly true about this time's voting.
Okay. Now, moving forward, there are other areas too where NDA could have done better, like Rajasthan, like Maharashtra, where it hasn't done all that well. And even in Uttar Pradesh, people who may disagree with you, they may say that caste was not the only factor. Maybe the incumbent government had not been as successful or as good with well-being as the claims that they had made. So maybe there was a set of resentment that had come in with the people, with the NDA government. So maybe they wanted to teach the NDA government a lesson.
Could be. I'm not taking away that possibility. That could be a possibility because it is human that you cannot please everybody at the same time. Having said that, in Rajasthan, I feel one thing which is abysmally wrong with NDA and the BJP leadership. In my 55 years of existence in this country, I have realized that somehow, somewhere, the local leadership has never been encouraged to grow. Whichever local leadership has grown or shown prominence, they are cut to size. Whatever reason may be given, but they are cut to size. I have a feeling that the Raje sister, Yashodhara Raje, na? Vasundhara Raje should have been made the face this time again. Maybe she had her own set of followers. Maybe if she was promoted, they may not have faced that bigger debacle as they faced in Rajasthan. In UP, there are a lot of rumors about insecurity of number 2 vis-a-vis Mr. Yogi. अब अगर आप में इतना insecurity है and there is no harmony between the inside players and the main players, there are bound to be differences. And if there's differences within the house, it is bound to percolate down to everybody. So if I'm fighting with my sons today, that news will percolate. It will go everywhere. So in fightings, I feel, which they did very sophisticatedly without much people knowing about it, yet it did come out from here and there. That's why Kejriwal had an audacity to go and say कि अब ये योगी को हटाएंगे अगली बार, and that kind of played with people.
So I understand what you're saying over there. Now I want to ask you about the RSS because people have been stating that maybe the ground level workers and the cadres of the RSS didn't let the electoral result be as fruitful for the NDA as it should have been. So maybe the impact of RSS and the role they could have played in the election and the role they play in the future. What are your thoughts on that?
See, I really don't know how their, grassroots functioning, the foot soldiers, what is the hierarchy, hierarchy of RSS? I don't understand that. But I was reading, and I may not be totally wrong, that there was a miscommunication between what the grassroots level foot soldiers had to say and what eventually reached the masters in the political game. So the intermediary somehow liked to carry the false narration to the masters because they thought somehow somewhere this is what the masters wanted to hear. So if you remain in power for too long, you also become a little arrogant about your own achievements and upon your own being. So you want to hear what you want to hear. So you sometimes are not willing to objectively assess criticism which is coming your way from your well-wisher. And so I think there was a slip between the lip and the cup when it came to the RSS and the main functionaries of BJP.
Right. So I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Everybody may or may not agree, but it's a very sensible analysis.
Absolutely, because I really feel there's so many that meets the eye, but basic issues, like I always say, human, what is true at micro level is true at macro level. So human being by and large are motivated and swayed by emotions. So a collective emotion was something that came to play here.
Now I think I just want to say that because NDA is coming back to power with a majority which is not suitable to them, they would have liked a stronger majority. But now you have a situation where two regional parties are going to become very important. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think this will cause policy paralysis? Do you think this is a reminder of the 90s India?
It is certainly, I mean, a party which is in pure majority and simple majority always has better, it's always done better compared to other parties, compared to, the alliance parties, the alliance government. But having said that, it is going to be a tough call because both the parties which has formed the alliance are not necessarily the parties which have had a good track record of working as a as team players.
Okay, Jay, you've been waiting very patiently. Let's get your thought on the general elections. Overall, feel free to answer any questions or give any kind of analysis.
Man, I certainly did not expect such a beating for the NDA. I was expecting them to go somewhere around 400 because I stopped making predictions on the basis of what people, analyze and according to whatever they read online, because I was expecting them to lose the state elections in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh as well, but they won quite resoundingly. So after that I took a sabbatical from political predictions, and I thought that you cannot really count them off. And a lot of people were counting them off, including yourself. You were telling me constantly that there is a strong possibility of them hardly coming to majority, and that's exactly what happened. And it was through their alliance partners that they were barely able to, cross the margin. It's at 293 Lok Sabha seats, if I'm not wrong. And keeping all of that in mind, I felt that to a very large extent, the general mood of certain communities within the Hindu pantheon were against the BJP, be it the upper castes, be it the OBCs, be it Hindus of the lower economic strata, or be it Dalits. So, like the general Hindu population, certain sections of them were resoundingly against certain BJP policies, given the increase in the middle class in this country, the taxation that the middle class has to go through, and also the fact that there are so many different types of indirect taxes as well, which really makes day-to-day things seem unreasonably expensive. Say the the taxes on automobiles
I agree
and
with
all
this.
of that. So like
The
all of these
taxes
things
are
has in
burgeoning.
general made the lives of the middle class extremely
Tough.
uncomfortable and
Yeah.
tough, where they are really going hard on their savings. So keeping all of that in mind, I think that also played a crucial role. Number two, I feel the new voter, the 18-year-olds, they were extremely influenced by the communal violence that had happened in the Northeast between the Maitis and the Cookies, because this new generation is extremely savvy. They know everything about politics, and all types of information is just like 5 minutes away. So this perception that was drilled into this new generation voter, this new 18-year-old, that this party is associated with communal violence, with the violence with respect to women. So that also became a very important aspect for their lack of seats. Then another point that I would like to raise is that I don't think BJP let their regional wings flourish at all. I think they were too dependent on Modi ji's image, which led to of sorts with Modi and BJP, where you could not separate the two. So what happened was that you had an incident. You had a situation like in Bengal where the Bengalis could not resonate with Modi's brand anymore. And you take the example of Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh BJP alone has performed really well, but the regional identity over there, the regional politics and the regional issues eventually trump the issues that are there in general North India, the Hindi belt. So I think the BJP government lagged behind in that aspect. And of course, the caste issue that I've already mentioned, that played an important role in JDU also amassing significant amounts of seats and becoming a key player in this new NDA government.
Yeah, I think now that first time voters have been mentioned, I think 2-3 issues also have to be accounted for, which the government never really acknowledged some follies, which the lack of acknowledgement of which I think may have backfired.
Yes.
The government was very anxious about ever addressing the unemployment word.
Yeah.
It was a real occurrence, and many early 20 somethings people were affected by it. I think certain acknowledgement of that could have benefited the ruling party.
Absolutely.
In addition to that, the lack of acknowledgement of the damage may be done by the Agniveer scheme.
Oh yes.
Agniveer
Very good
scheme
point.
was never accepted by many 18-19 year olds who would have been on the electoral roll this year.
Yes.
So I think there also maybe they have probably lost.
And
seats
mostly from places like Haryana, UP, and Bihar.
in UP, Haryana, Rajasthan,
Yeah.
Where they are.
People, yeah, exactly.
To the army.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot of young voters go to the
Yeah.
army.
Go to
from
the
those
army,
states.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they have lost a lot of voters in those Hindi armies.
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to make an addition to what I said initially about the caste. The caste dynamics that I'm talking about and the sensitivity towards caste that I'm talking about is majorly in the Hindi belt. Caste has always been a very important factor
Down south as well.
for deciding who they are going to vote for. Down south, somehow, somewhere, we don't really.
Yeah, we don't really.
We don't, I mean, as a North Indian, I think the fault lies with me that all these, and you know what, it's usually that UP ends up deciding who rules the center. So somehow other states, we have not been able to focus on the politics of other state as much as we are Hindi heartland centric. Things should change now henceforth, or things have been changing for a long time. But initially, it was because UP and its large existence and large number of share of seats, UP ended up deciding it all the time. And this time again, if BJP has really faltered, it's done all its glories and achievements in other places have kind of gotten outshone because UP they did badly in UP and Rajasthan. So the issues that I'm talking about still I'll say are more relevant in Hindi heartland than
Facts.
any other
The
place.
reason why I was saying that down south also caste plays an important role is because the domination of Dravidian parties is extensively on the lines of destroying Brahmanical control over
Yeah.
the societal structures of what we popularly call the Sanatana Dharma,
Yeah.
right? So if their entire rhetoric is against caste, so caste also plays an important
Plays an
role.
important
So
role.
if
Yeah.
you take DMK's policies, they basically operate in a dual structure. One is uh, Tamil supremacy, where they claim that Tamil is like the oldest language in the world, and they say that Tamil is the best language in the world. Nothing comes close to Tamil. Anyway, I'm joking. It's a joke. So basically, that is one of their forefronts. The other thing that they play on extensively is the fact that they use BJP's BJP's propaganda as a way of reminding the masses in Tamil Nadu that BJP comes with a Brahmanical agenda, where they would reimpose, where they would impose Hindi on them. Number one. Number two, they would be more casteist. So eventually putting the wealth and the influence back into the hands of the Brahmins of Tamil Nadu. So this is the dual approach of DMK's politics. So this is how they always try to divide and conquer most of the votes in Tamil Nadu, where they say,
So, you know, now that you're
Yeah.
talking about it, I also
Yeah.
feel the fake narratives which were
Mm.
floating around, we all know what is fake and what is not so fake. The fake narrative which was floating around about BJP, the young generation, the younger voters could not see through the fallacy of the fake narration. And despite a BJP active cell, IT cell
cell.
being extremely active, I
they're
feel
horrible. They don't do a
they're
good
horrible.
job. They
And
don't do a
I
good job
feel
at all.
I feel their agenda was more of attacking Rahul Gandhi
Yeah.
and demonizing him and Priyanka Gandhi than to defend its own policies
Exactly.
and all work done. So
Exactly.
all the IT cell people were only, kind of trolling people.
Pappu. That's
And,
not gonna work anymore.
No, yeah. So you have to.
तो मुझे लगता है कि the Indian voter actually became a lot smarter than these IT cell people gave them credit for. They needed more of a narrative than just attacking Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah.
Nobody is a big fan of him largely in the voter space, but you get tired of just the allegation of dynasty politics and the allegation of calling somebody a certain name. So the tactics became so attacking and such a lack of focus on policy measures that no manifesto or no promises were even made by the ruling party this year, and nothing was communicated by the IT cell to the people. Everything was being defined by attacks and protecting Modi image.
Yeah.
Nothing else was being done on a policy scale.
Yeah, also the fact that a lot of people were saying that the way that certain statements and certain speeches were made, they were extremely controversial and vitriolic. I
See,
feel.
INDIA was also making very
Yeah,
controversial statements. So it is not that only one party,
I get
NDA
it.
was
I get it, I
making
get it.
controversial.
So
This is where I feel, see, in the end of the day, we are extremely polarized society. We are lettered society, we are literate society, but how educated are we? That is circumspect. Now, for an example, let me tell you one thing. We, like a lot of euphoric people are writing on their Facebook or their social media status is that, okay, here we get rid of the traditionalist, inward thinking, backward thinking, regressive, snake charmer, cow worshipper and cow dung worshipper lot, and my point is that if I like to worship cow, how am I regressive? If I like to go and see, PETA is there. PETA decides now that there should be no cruelty towards animal. Why should I only care for animals that you choose for me to care about?
I agree.
I want to care about cows also. So how am I regressive if I'm a cow worshipper? Go to Arizona.
Yeah.
We look at America as a very, very forward-looking place, and that's the most developed country. Go to Arizona. They still respect the mountains that the Red Indians respect. They still love they still bow, despite being Caucasian origin wala. They still go and bow to the birds that they pray to. Arizona is run by tribal law. So this is what this is what I mean when I say, how are we regressive when the most developed society of this world, of this earth, also gives that space to the culturalist, to the traditionist. So my number one take is this, that and this is the kind of narrative that, appealed to the Dhruv Rathi and the kinds of the world and the supporters of Dhruv Rathi. I'm not against Dhruv Rathi. He's earning money. All the best to him. He's entitled to do that. So all the best to him, and all the best to the Ravish Kumars of the world. But my point is that, have you even thought of it before condemning what we do? Go and see what the others are doing in the world. And what is education, you tell me? How many of us with education is employable in today's day and time?
Absolutely.
And if we are, what is our population? I even forget the number. Are we 150 crores already?
We 140 crores.
We
1.4 billion.
1.4 billion. So we are 1.4 billion people. And can you imagine any government giving employment to all the youth, which must be somewhere around 75 crore? Kitte hum log yaar? More than that. Any government, give my population to America, and if America doesn't crumble tomorrow, I will change my name. With that kind of economy, if their GDP doesn't go to hell and to the heaven, wherever it doesn't really gets pulverized, I'll change my name. So, we are looking at an extremely polarized, absolutely, bursting on seam population, which is unemployable. So if Modi initiated schemes like Made in India, Startup India, there's so many other, Digital India. Even Digital India has given employment to so many people. So if these schemes were initiated, why couldn't this be highlighted by the IT cell and said, see, he's doing so much. How can the government give you employment? Why is everybody looking for government employment? And with your employability, with your education, how much have you contributed in the national income or in nation's growth? उससे अच्छे तो वो दुकानदार हैं जो बैठ के खुद खाते हैं और अपने 20 के परिवार को भी खूब अच्छे से पालते हैं और एक दो बार बाहर का छुट्टी भी मना के आते हैं. So aren't they better off than the people who are seeking job and wondering कि आगे सरकार हमको बचाएगी और हमारे लिए जमीन करेगी, हमारे लिए नौकरी क्रिएट करेगी?
Very well said. I think that IT cell missed out on making a good campaign out of the good policies they themselves introduced.
Absolutely.
They could have focused on how the infrastructure pipeline and the infrastructure highway push of the Modi government.
Absolutely. So many jobs for the people.
I would like to add something. I totally agree with you guys. I would like to add something to the fact that certain cultural aspects, specifically of the Hindus, were mentioned, because I feel that in the present narrative, it is very, very easy to attack one religion, and because you have seen on countless occasions that there are certain ideologies which become extremely violent if anything bad is said against their religion. I'm not going to take names.
That's why we are attacked,
but
na?
Again, my point is that we have to acknowledge one thing, that we were colonized. And before colonization, we were almost under 800 years of another type of subjugation by another type of ideology or religion, which was totally foreign to us. Now, coming back to that, so we were talking about almost 1,000 years of total subjugation. Now, in that process, we inherited certain educational institutions and cultural institutions from that 1,000 years. Now, keeping all of that in mind, because we had 200 years of British rule, we inculcated a lot of Judeo-Christian values inside us, which were totally foreign to us, right? So, I'm not saying that certain cultural reforms brought in by the British weren't good, say getting rid of sati, but again, sati was an issue which was
very localized,
glaring, and only localized in only places like Bengal and Rajasthan. It wasn't as widespread as the British made it to be.
And all the widows of the world and Mahabharata and Ramayana wouldn't have been there if sati was prevalent and indigenous
again, coming back to my point, after that we had the Christian-dominated educational circles, where most of the good schools in India were essentially run by the church. Now, I'm not taking away the secularism of the church. I also studied in a Catholic school, so I'm not saying that they imposed Catholicism down my throat. or I'm not saying in a Protestant school, Christianity was, forced down my throat. But what it does is that it very subtly creates this idea inside your head that, you know what, we as Hindus, as followers of a certain religious group, we will always, like, remain backward if we, stay true to our practices. Whereas,
That's
all,
why, okay,
yeah,
Bholu, we understood what
Mm.
you're trying to say.
yeah,
That is why I say we are uneducated.
yeah,
People have forgotten. People, we are so eager and so forthcoming to highlight our own problem that, the beatification controversy of Mother Teresa is not too far off.
Mhm.
The papal world, the Vatican, actually, had to wait for a Hindu. I mean, she was a patient, or I'm forgetting what she was, or probably she had leprosy or whatever, who was treated by, like she was under aegis of this Nirmala Society or whatever it is called. That woman, she said, she went and told the papacy that probably through Mother Teresa's pictures, the rays came out and cured her. What is this? This is educated world, and this is what Judeo-Christian tradition
Judeo-Christian
we are
values.
talking about. So if I love my cow and I believe in the benefits that my cow can give me, how am I different from them? How am I uneducated and they are a civilized
Exactly.
society of the world? We are heathens and they are the civilized society of the
Yes,
world.
yes. In fact, if
So
you
I'm this is what our educated Indians don't understand. Oh, we are cow worshipper. How embarrassing. Just who they think they're the most intelligent one. My problem is they think they're so intelligent, so sophisticated, so above the board, and their empathy is limited to their own unidimensional understanding of the issues on hand. So if you are so empathetic towards Hindu-Muslim divide, why can't you be empathetic towards, the caste divides? You should be empathetic towards that also. If you think that Brahmins have kind of, perpetrated some kind of evils on the lesser privileged of the society, so I mean, I'm not taking that away, but the course correction is on.
Thank you for joining us. Subscribe. I hope this video was a bit educational. Things were a little lovely.